Could this be the most racist board game ever? At the very least, it's probably the most offensive. Hello, everyone. I am Mecha Random 42, the one, the only, the original, your favorite YouTube consumer advocate, Harpy. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, Mecha, you're just going to rail on this game and you're going to say that they're all a bunch of ists and phobes for... maybe a little bit, but there are some positive things to say about this, and we're not going to let those go unnoticed as well. So I always have a weird take on everything that I'm supposed to just completely rail on. Anyway, we are talking today about the board game. It is called Blacks and Whites. It is an old board game from the 1970s. Well, there's a new edition now. A new edition complete with Karens and MAGA hat wearing people. Oh, and you see how well it's getting ratioed now. You see the ratio. They have a Kickstarter for this game. It is basically a much woker version of Monopoly. A much wokier Wokemon version of Monopoly. Here, let's take a look at some of this.
White's 50th Anniversary Edition. Featuring brand new artwork and renewed lessons in the economics of prejudice. Choose your game piece from 9 original characters.
They have a Karen. They actually have a Karen.
Guess I'm Karen.
Drawn up.
They actually have a Karen.
But watch out for greedy white people, or you may go bankrupt.
Capitalism and racism are inextricable.
All right. So... You get the idea. It's kind of, it seems to me to be a little bit of an exaggerated stereotype. Here's the thing though. The original board game was designed in 1970. This is a re-updated version. This reminds me a lot of Monopoly for Millennials, with a lot of modern day memes and things. However, when the original board game, let's pull this up for example here, was released in 1970, this was at the height of the civil rights movement. This game was developed, originally published as a free game insert with paperboard and unmounted cards that had to be cut out in the March 1970 issue of Psychology Today magazine, which simultaneously advertised a version in a long cardboard box with better components and play money for $5.95. Blacks and Whites was a socially conscious game which not only reflected the signs of the times, it was also meant to affect change. In a sense, it was something more akin to a social experiment and a performance art in game form. That is, I believe some of the intent behind this. Now, they do have a Kickstarter. They have a Kickstarter for this board game. And they designed this board game. Well, we'll let them speak about it.
A reconceived 50th anniversary edition with proceeds going to a great worthy cause.
So we put our little black and white heads together, reimagined the game, the instructions, the cards, hired an awesome artist, Erica Kittrell, to help us reimagine the look and feel of the game.
All right, so it's basically a Monopoly game. They've redesigned it. Here's the issue, though. You're going to have a lot of people take this so seriously.
Jed and I have wanted to recreate this game ever since we found out it existed, but purely for comedic reasons. And then after the death of George Floyd and everything else that's happened this year, we realized that a game like Blacks and Whites is sadly more relevant than ever.
This is one of the issues I have with this game, though, is that it mistakes stereotypes for reality. It mistakes stereotypes for reality. It has this stereotypical white, quote-unquote, white person in its mindset, or quote-unquote black person, if you will. Whichever stereotype you feel that you're represented by in this. How is that helping things by having this stereotype that white players are going to get $50,000 while black players are going to get $10,000? Not to mention that you start off the game where white players get $1 million and black players get $10,000 because isms and phobias. What? Seriously, just any person, regardless of skin color, in my comment section. How many of you actually have $10,000 in the bank right now? How many of you, without having to cash out your 401k or selling a major home, how many of you are living paycheck to paycheck, regardless of how you look on the outside? And when you see a game like this, their heart is in the right place. Their intentions are noble, and I really, really have to appreciate and give some support to this, where I don't want to rail on this entirely because they're giving money. They're actually giving money to good causes. They're giving
And
money to noble
centers,
charities for this,
comprehensive housing.
for comprehensive housing counseling, to try and keep people in homes. National Urban League. This isn't just giving money to bail out a bunch of criminals. No, this is actually helping people stay in homes, maintain homes. So the money is going to a good cause that they're getting for these proceeds. I have no issue with people donating to charities that are actually helping people. That has never been a problem that I think anybody has. But when you see a game like this, it will further perpetuate the stereotypes that people of certain ethnicities are not allowed to be anything that they choose to be, and that some people get better advantages than others based on superficial things that might not actually apply. Not to mention forgetting the differences between and any ethnic diversity. We're in a day and age where every single person on this planet that I know of has some sort of friend, relative, family member, whoever, who might not look like you. You might have a cousin who's biracial. You might have, your sister is married to somebody of a different ethnicity than her. That's normal. That is everyday, normal, day-to-day life. And to further perpetuate the stereotype of separatism, to further perpetuate this stereotype that all people are the same based on the outside, I think is where I kind of have an issue with this. And I brought in somebody to give a little bit of a couple of cents on this issue, somebody who's actually experienced some isms and phobia in their own family as well. And I know you're going to say, but white dude, who are you? Why are you here, old white dude?
Hi, I'm Rob Robot Shlomo from Midnight Edge After Dark. And I'm here because I'm an old white dude. I'm an old white dude, apparently. No, but I mean, when I first saw this, I said, seriously, this is a thing. And there's people putting money behind it, which is even more shocking.
Well, that's not an issue. That's not an issue I have. I mean, I have monopoly for millennials, and I would see this as almost a parody. What's the word for parasitic? Is not the word I'm going for. A parody version of a board game.
Yeah. This reminds me of All in the Family when Meathead brought home a game and he kept trying to talk to Lionel. He goes, "Yeah, I want to talk to you about the black problem." He goes, "Black problem? Oh yeah, because you would know, Mike." And they were playing the board game, challenging people's perceptions and everything. And it was just, and the more he got proven wrong by that, his outlook wasn't what he thought it'd be, the more and more angry he got. He goes, "All right, I don't want to play anymore." And he knocks the board over.
And this was your very, very progressive college kid sort of stereotype of the late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah.
The very type of person who would play this and say, look, we have to do something about this inequality and issues. And you know what? Great. Heart's in the right place. Best of intentions. Nobody has a problem with that. Everybody wants everybody to be equal and on equal playing fields. But at the end of the day, we're all controlled by the same 5 giant corporations and billionaires, and it doesn't matter. We're all being used as pawns against each other with all of this crap anyway. And seriously, we're gonna choose right now, this day and age. When I would love for somebody to show me video, and I've seen video footage. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see this. But tell this to any business owner. Like let's just say a white guy is a small business owner. He's got a restaurant, or his wife has a hair salon or something, and they're out of business right now, and they're being told how much privilege they're supposed to have when they're struggling to get by on a $600 pittance. Right? After 10 months of being out of work. Tell that to those people, because I don't think they're going to care very much. And something like this right now in this day and age, with the great cough global toilet paper shortage of 2020 going on, is kind of insensitive. It's kind of insensitive, and it shows a lack of priority.
78% of people before the great toilet paper shortage were living paycheck to paycheck, and a $400 emergency could wipe them out. So the whole idea that you get this advantage because you're alone because you're white. Listen, I'm not one to say, listen, are there people who do have it better off? Yes, obviously there are. But you know what? It's not across the board. All things aren't equal, as the saying goes.
No, for every Natalie Portman that you see out in Hollywood, or every even Bob Iger or somebody like that, you'll still see an Oprah Winfrey, a Michael Jordan, you still see. And then you have somebody like me who would be thrown out of both circles. I wouldn't be hobnobbing with Natalie Portman any more than I would be Oprah Winfrey. Period.
Don't say Bob Iger don't say his name 3 times, because then he'll appear.
Then he'll have to appear. Oh no.
Yeah. So we
and
don't
this
know.
This whole idea that all people of even that all people who happen to be paler in skin shade are supposed to be above being called any racial slurs. I don't know. I don't really want to get too into all the stuff that I've been on the receiving end lately, but that kind of prompted me to say, you know what? Enough is enough. This is only causing more hatred and division between everybody. And I brought you on specifically for an anecdote that I was going to tell, but you tell it so much better about your father.
Yeah, my father came to America in 1952, barely spoke the language, at a time where anybody who was Italian would be called, you no good guinea wop. And that's what before anyone says anything, that's what he was referred to as. But he worked his way up to be a pillar in the community. He went to night school. He learned the language. He started his own business. He literally built his house. Literally, I'm not kidding around. He built the house he lived in. Literally. I'm not joking around. Gas station across the street, service station across the street. He was a mechanic. He did it the old-fashioned way, trial and error.
Yes, but before he came to this country also. I mean, before people say, oh, well, see, he had all this advantage because of the color of his skin.
Before he came to this country, he was captured by people with extreme differences of opinion. And I'm not talking about...
the World War II bad guys. The little guys with the little mustache, people who work for that guy.
And I'm not talking about just the ones that, the well-meaning ultra liberal people point to and say you're this, you have an extreme difference of opinion, you're a World War II bad guy. I'm talking about card carrying World War II bad guys. And he was they came to his village, rounded up all the men, took them away to a work camp. White people oppressing other white people. He wasn't Jewish.
And that was what? How many years after other forms of oppression were ended in the United States? Right? And we're not trying to minimalize or say that it doesn't exist. We're not trying to say that some people get preferential treatment based on being... And I kind of think it's not necessarily based on their skin color. It's well grooming. How well groomed a person is. How well they carry themselves. With how much class and dignity somebody carries themselves. And this stereotype that all people of let's say the stereotype that a lot of these woke white people tend to have, and I'm calling them out too. I'm going to call it the woke white people. They have this stereotype that all people of other ethnicities are all poor, struggling, underemployed, unemployed on welfare, can't do anything for themselves without the white savior coming. That's another stereotype that stuff like this board game just perpetuates. That they allow a lot of these kind of woke people just to come in thinking that they're going to be the savior for everybody. When you do want to try and speak up for something, what are you met with sometimes? Don't speak for me. Stay in your lane. Know your place. So a lot of this stuff, especially in this day and age when there's a lot of other stuff going on, just comes off as a little bit insensitive to me.
Mm-hmm.
Just the wrong place, wrong time. Yeah, like I said, their heart's in the right place. So I can't rail on the game makers, especially when I think they're coming at this from a more comedic point of view. They're coming at this from more of a we wanted to call attention to a lot of this, just in a way to raise awareness. But
it's obviously it's a little bit more satirical, but at the same time, I'm like, oh, come on, this is really, we got to go there, really.
And like I said, we're not trying to make light of any actual injustices that are happening, but there's a lot of stuff going on.
There are injustices happening in the world, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this board game, this will really correct them all. Yeah.
And I don't even think they meant to. But, I can applaud them for actually donating money to reasonable causes, to good charities. They're trying to actually do something to help, something positive, instead of just perpetuating violence and destruction. Which, you know, okay, good on them. So I'm not going to rail on them for it. And please don't spam them, don't flood them, don't brigade them, don't go and comment on their thing. And if you do want to support this, there's no reason why you shouldn't. And I might actually pick up a copy of for myself, because I kind of like having weird social experiment sort of things, because that's what this reminds me of. This is just a board game from the 1970s that was a social experiment from psychology magazines, from all these little hippie liberal sort of new agey sort of people that came out of the late 60s and 70s.
Yeah, and like I said, they're donating money to charity, so that's always a good thing. So,
do you have anything else to say about this?
Nope.
Do you approve of a game like this? Would you buy a game like this?
I miss Battleship.
Right? I'm still playing I'm playing Family Feud on the Switch, and I'm playing other stuff. So tell us what you guys think in the comment section below. I am Mecha Random42.
And I'm thawing out shrimp.
And he's canceled. He's canceled because of the color of his skin. See you guys later. Bye. Thanks for watching. If you liked it, make sure to hit that like button. And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye!
Oh, you're fine.